Hello my loves, welcome to your cosmic weather report for the week ahead. Now we've got a lot of Mercury action this week, and as you may be aware, Mercury is currently in retrograde. I did do a Mercury retrograde survival guide live all about this retrograde, all about what to expect and how we can navigate it. So that is up on my grid now. It's about half an hour long if you want to go and watch that and get the full intel on this Mercury retrograde. But our week begins with Mercury trine Jupiter. This is going to happen on Monday. Now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. And so the likelihood is that Jupiter is going to expand the energies of this Mercury retrograde. Now, I know some of you might be like, no more Mercury. It can't get any bigger, can't this retrograde? But what I've really tried to bring home to you about this retrograde is the big lesson of this retrograde is to slow down, to be present, to stop rushing, especially at this time of year. And many of you have written to me about this has happened in Mercury retrograde and this and this. A lot of it is because you've been rushing. So as Mercury meets Jupiter, what you might find is a little bit more intensity around this retrograde. But what I'd ask you is to get really honest. Am I rushing? Am I pushing? Can I begin to slow down just a little bit? Can I, before I rush out of the front door, take a moment, check, do I have everything? Am I present? Am I here? Just slow down. Now, this is also going to highlight the energies of this retrograde in so much as what Mercury retrograde brings is this really beautiful opportunity to review the year gone by. And we do find a lot of things come back around at Mercury retrograde. That's why people will often joke about exes and things coming back around. And this is so that we can begin to really tie up loose ends. Now, this is going to be really powerful on Tuesday, because on Tuesday we get the first quarter moon in Pisces. Now, the first quarter moon is normally that part of the lunar cycle where we're going, we're doing, we're out there, everything's active, we're building towards what we want. But in Pisces being the final sign of the zodiac, and as we're wrapping up a year and as we're in Mercury retrograde, what this first quarter moon is likely to ask you, the doing part of this first quarter moon is likely to be in, what do you need to wrap up? What do you need to close off? Where are there still loose ends in your life over this year? Where do you need to now completing things, closing things, releasing things, shedding things, so that we're preparing then for a new year? So you might find again with these Mercury energies, if anything is coming back around, things are coming back up for you. It's a really beautiful time at this first quarter moon to use those energies of the building moon to assist you in that wrapping up, tying off, closing off. Really think about that final sign of the zodiac energy and what is it that you want to release so that we're not taking into a new cycle with us as we move into a new year next year. Now, Thursday then, we get Mercury sextile Saturn. Saturn is the planet of boundaries, of foundations, of restrictions. And so again, as Mercury meets Saturn, this is going to be another whoa, stop. Pause, you're rushing, slow down. And so in case you haven't gathered the theme of this week yet, the theme of a lot of this week is about slowing down and being in more presence. Now, I know that some of you might argue with me and be like, but Kirsty, it's the final week before Christmas, I've got stuff to do, I've got to go here, I've got to go here, I've got to go there. But can you just begin to do it with a little bit more awareness? So when we're spinning around in circles and we're trying to spin 100 plates all at one go, and we're trying to multitask and do 50 things, especially at a time of year when we are quite depleted, quite exhausted, this Mercury retrograde is really going to try to get you to slow down. And especially as Mercury then meets Jupiter and now Saturn, there's going to be this real call for pause, pause. It's almost like if you see a friend rushing around, you're going to take hold of them and sit them down and say, sit down for a moment. Let me make you a cup of tea. Take a big, deep breath. Just lay a foundation here. Get present, get still. And then you're going to be able to go out and do all those things so much better by just taking this little moment, this little pause. So there might be a further sense of pause around the end of the week if you have been pushing and rushing around. Now, on this same day, Venus is also opposite Uranus. So this is a day to be mindful of relationships, especially as we're starting to get closer towards Christmas, especially as relationships can sometimes start to get a bit fraught around this time of year. So there is going to be a big emphasis on relationships on Thursday. And also for any of you that did the 12-12 manifesting, so I told you on 12-12, on the 12th of December, it was a beautiful day for manifesting love and calling love into your life. As Venus now opposes Uranus, this is another beautiful day to give that dream of love a really big boost. So you might spend some time, if you wrote out your love wish list, just going over your wish list, maybe feeling into what it is you really want from your relationships going forwards, maybe getting honest about where certain relationships aren't quite in alignment at the moment, and perhaps conversations that you can have either now or in the new year about how you want things to be different going forward. So it's going to be a day to get really honest around relationships. Now Friday, we get a really sweet day on Friday. Friday we get what's called a Mercury Cassimi. It's also the winter solstice as the sun moves into Capricorn. So first of all, the Cassimi. The word Cassimi means into the heart of the sun. As planets move into the heart of the sun, this is where we get a Cassimi. Now we have Mercury Cassimis when Mercury's direct, and a Cassimi when Mercury goes retrograde. When we have a Mercury Cassimi, so Mercury meeting the sun when Mercury's retrograde, this is the closest that Mercury will ever get to the Earth. So again, the effects of Mercury retrograde will be slightly amplified, but this is a beautiful day, especially with the winter solstice. So the winter solstice means that we're getting the shortest day and the longest night of the year. After this day, the light begins to return. And the winter solstice is about deep inner reflection. It's the start of winter. So even though the light is starting to return, this is the start now of going into deep winter, deep hibernation. And we do this to gather our winter wisdom, to gather what we've learned over the year so far, to take a pause, to reflect on the year, to really know where we've been so that we can know where we're going. And as we get this Mercury Cassimi happening on the same day, there's a likelihood that you're going to be really called over Friday, possibly Saturday, maybe even from Thursday, as we start to get this Mercury sextile Saturn energy. There's going to be a real need to go inwards, to perhaps spend some time being quiet, being still. You might notice the outside world is just a bit too much. There's too much noise, there's too much going on, and you just want a little bit of time to go in. And this is where we're going to have the opportunity to really go into our deepest truth, our deepest knowing, our deepest wisdom. And remember that we can only gain all of this when we slow down. And that's why often, in all honesty, many people keep themselves busy, because while we're being busy, we don't need to listen to the little stirring within of what's not working in our life, what we've been avoiding, what we've been ignoring. And that's why we keep busy, so we can be like, I'm not listening. It's only when we slow down that we can really get into that deep, deep, deep wisdom. And this Cassimi happening on the winter solstice is just so sweet. It's such a sweet invite to go inwards, to listen. If you can get quiet and still and listen towards the end of the week, you will likely find an awful lot of answers, an awful lot of guidance, an awful lot of wisdom by just opening yourself up to receive all of this and to really listen to what's going on within. It's going to be such a powerful day for really gathering that wisdom that is then going to help us to know where we're going in the year ahead. As the sun moves into Capricorn, Capricorn helps us to put plans in place, to look to where we're going. Think of the mountain goat. The mountain goat's looking at the mountain and going, okay, I need to go there and there and there and there and there, and that's how I'm going to get to the top. So this is the energy that Capricorn brings us, is this real energy of planning ahead and knowing where it is that we're going, and being able to really get practical and real about how we're going to get to where we want to go. Now, Saturday, we get more Mercury energy as Mercury then moves back into Sagittarius. So Mercury is stationed retrograde in Capricorn. On Saturday, Mercury will move back into Sagittarius. Now, after the Mercury Cassimi, after the winter solstice, after we've gathered all of this wisdom, This again is so sweet and so magical, because Mercury in Sagittarius then helps us to expand our minds, to be able to vision what's possible for us, to be able to really know our deepest truth, to be able to be open to possibilities and allow ourselves to really go into that dreamscape. It also helps us to really challenge our beliefs. So if our belief system tends to be more around, that could never happen for me, this could never happen, that might go wrong, that might go wrong, Mercury in Sagittarius helps us to really expand our beliefs and challenge our beliefs. Is that true? Is that true? Do I still want this to be true for me? And how can I find a new set of beliefs whereby when something new is coming in, rather than think about everything that could go wrong, I start to think about, oh, how could this happen? What could be possible? Where could I take this? So Mercury moving back into Sag is going to give us this really powerful opportunity to expand our minds, and knowing what we know after the week, the Mercury Cassimi, the winter solstice, everything that's happened, how can I now take all of that and start to really envision what could be possible for me? And then on Sunday, on Christmas Eve, we get the Sun sextile Saturn. Now, this is going to bring one of two energies for us. The Sun sextile Saturn. Saturn, again, is about foundations. It's about boundaries. And so depending on your family situation over Christmas, it may be that you're going back to your foundations. You're going back to your roots. You're going back to your family. And it's a really beautiful invite to really allow yourself to nestle into your foundations. Because again, sometimes we need to go back to where we came from to really know who we are and where we want to go. And so it could for you just be a really gorgeous energy of going back to your roots, your foundations, your family. It could equally be that the Sun sextile Saturn wants you to set boundaries around what you're willing to discuss over the family period or the Christmas period, what conversations you're open to and what you're not, where you're going to put boundaries around the time that you spend with family, what you're open to discussing, the questions that you're open to answering. So it could be that you're using this energy instead to set some very clear boundaries for yourself of, this is how I'm going to go into this festive period. These are the boundaries I'm going to put in place to help to protect me and everyone else around me so that we can have the best time that we can over Christmas. So that is your cosmic weather report for this week. I really hope it's helped as always. Remember, the themes for this week are about slowing down, inner listening, catching up with yourself and knowing where you are so that you can then know where you're going. If I was going to give you directions to go somewhere, I'd have to know where you are to be able to do that. And it's the same in life. We have to know where we are in order for us then to be able to orient to where it is that we want to go. If you do want more on the winter solstice, there is so many ways you can spend the winter solstice with me and with your soul. We have a winter wisdom ritual pack that's got meditation and journal prompts. We're doing a goddess ritual, and we're doing a candlelight yin to really give us that opportunity to slow down in these big energies. So you'll find all of those details either in the link in my bio or on my website. Have a beautiful week, my loves. Go slow, go gently, be present, listen. And I will be back on Christmas Eve to give you your cosmic weather report for the Christmas week. I'm sending so much love. Thank you as always for being part of this community. And I just really am happy that these weather reports help us to all navigate our way through together. We got this. Sending you a lot of love. I'll see you soon.